with the eternal knowledge. With your permission, I will give very short introduction. His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj is a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada and has been involved in various services within the ISKCON for over 50 years. For years, Maharaj was fully dedicated to book distribution. He would arrange to have various book distribution events, provide books and sanctified food, prasadam, acquire necessary permits and coordinate the overall efforts. Maharaj traveled extensively throughout the United States, Europe, and India, sharing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, also sharing the teachings from our Vedic scriptures, and has spoken in various corporations and colleges. With that, we will welcome Maharaj by loudly chanting one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Over to you, Maharaj.
Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyachate Satarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I suggest you girls that are situated in the front, you should sit so that you can look at the screen, because that's where all the action is going to be. My mouth will go, but the action is going to be over here. Thank you. How many devotees here have been to Vrindavan in this lifetime? Well, that's a lot. How many would like to go in this lifetime? Okay, me too. You didn't raise your hand. You went? You're very new. Oh, do you know where is Vrindavan? Oh, okay. So the plan is to make a virtual trip to Vrindavan. And even more specifically, to the place where Krishna performed his Damodara-lila. Let's do a little background first. Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa. You know about that part? Yeah. So he appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki on the wedding day of Devaki. Devaki had a cousin brother named Kamsa. And driving the chariot, just being the chariot driver, very menial service, driving the chariot of his cousin sister. And Vasudeva, there was a voice from the sky that said, "The eighth child of Devaki will kill you." Ha ha! And he was a very cruel fellow. Immediately, with one hand grabbed her hair, with the other hand grabbed his sword, and was going to chop her head off on her wedding day. Vasudeva was a ministerial type of Kshatriya, and he managed to persuade his new brother-in-law not to kill his sister because it wasn't the child of Devaki. It wasn't Devaki, it was the children of Devaki. And he said, it's the eighth child, but I'll tell you, I'll give you every single child that's born between us, and you can do with the child whatever you like, but spare your sister's life. So he did. And then first son that was born, he said, it's okay. The first son that was born, it's the eighth child. So you can keep the son. The minister said, kill the child. Who knows? Number one or number 8. So he killed the first 6 sons of Vasudeva and Devaki. Then there was the child number 7, while still in the womb of Devaki, the 7th child still in her womb. Krishna appeared. He hadn't appeared yet. He hasn't taken birth yet or appeared in this world yet. But Krishna summoned his Yogamaya potency. Krishna summoned his Yogamaya potency and said, I have some service for you. Service? Yes. What is it? 3 services. 1, the child that's in the womb of Devaki, transfer this child from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. And you may consider him to be very heavy because he's Balaram, but that's okay. I'll give you the power. You can do it. First service. Second service. The very evening that I take birth as the 8th child of Devaki, you will simultaneously take birth as the daughter of Yashoda. The daughter of Yashoda, Nanda and Yashoda, mother and father of Krishna. And we'll do a switcheroo. I'll make an arrangement that I can leave the prison house of Kamsa. Vasudeva will carry me, place me by the side of Yashoda, bring you back to the prison house of Kamsa. So there's a switcheroo. He won't know the difference. And when he comes to know that the 8th child of Devaki has been born, he'll come and try to kill you. But don't worry, this is service number 3. He'll try to kill you, but you're my Yogamaya potency, so he won't be able to kill you. And instead, you'll slip from his hand, fly into the sky, and travel all over the countryside, and you'll be known by various names. 8 names. 8 names of Durga, which means Yogamaya has a reflection, or the reflection of Yogamaya is Durga. Just like Navaratri, we recently honored Navaratri. She is a reflection of Krishna's Yogamaya potency. It's a detail. It's nice to know. So what were Nanda and Yashoda doing on the other side of the river Jamuna? It's a little history. It's nice history. Nanda Maharaj had a very dear friend. His dear friend was Kirtida was the wife. Vrishabhanu was the husband of his wife. And the two couples, no children for a long time. So Nanda Maharaj had an ancestral home that's, when you visit Vrindavan, we're going to visit virtually, but when you visit Vrindavan, he's way up on a hill, Nandagound or Nandagram. And it's like a palace up on top of a hill. That's his ancestral home. He inherited it, Nanda Maharaj. And Vrishabhanu had his ancestral home, which is in sight, some kilometers away, but another hill. It's 4 hills, some distance away, now known as Varsana, where Radharani grew up. No children, no children, no children. They decided maybe we'll find better fortune on the eastern side of the river Jamuna. So off they went. They traveled from their ancestral home to the eastern side of Vrindavan. And that's where Yashoda gave birth to a female child, and then there was a switcheroo. Krishna was placed by their side. And there's some further details, but they were considering Krishna was their son. Although Vasudeva knew, he's my son. But he didn't disturb the mind of Nanda. It's important later. The very first demon, the first demon that Krishna killed was who? Putana. Some detail. I hope you like details. Krishna's pastimes. There's something virtuous about hearing Krishna's pastimes. Those two main virtues. Our forgetfulness of Krishna is cleared and remembrance of Krishna is awakened, and attachment to Krishna is most affected by hearing his pastimes, and especially hearing his childhood pastimes. So that's what we're doing right now, just churning the topics of, we weren't present when Krishna appeared, but hearing about Krishna's appearance is not different than Krishna's appearing. It's important. Sound effects the awakening of consciousness. So Krishna was a little boy, and the Putana demon event took place when he was just 3 months old. So think of a little baby boy, 3 months old. He isn't even crawling yet. He's just little boy. And he killed Putana. There's a nice description of that. Then some other pastimes occurred, and then the Damodar pastime occurred when Krishna was 1 year old. Now, the ancestral home, when you visit Vrindavan, you'll see it's up on a hill. And then when they moved to the eastern side of Vrindavan, of the river Jamuna, there was a much smaller hill to the palace of Nanda Maharaj, because he's the king of the cowherd, so he had a little palace. And at the bottom of that little hill is where this pastime occurred. It's called Damodara-lila Sthana, the place where the Damodara-lila occurred. And we're going to visit it virtually with photos. And the meaning of this name, Damodar, has 2 parts. Dhamma means ropes, and Udara means abdomen. So Krishna was bound around the abdomen or waist with ropes by Mother Jashoda. That's the name, Damodar. Now, before we go into the pastime, a little bit about the significance of Vrindavan Dham itself. one of the very important sources of information from scripture about the importance of Vrindavan comes in Padma Purana, one of the Sattvic Puranas, one of the very prominent and big Sattvic Puranas. Mathura Mahatmya, the glories of the Mathura district, because Vrindavan is in the Mathura district, it's not the city, it's the agricultural land surrounding the city that supports the city. So the capital was in Mathura, and Vrindavan was the agricultural place, and Nanda Maharaj was the king of Vrindavan, king of the cowherds in Vrindavan. Mentioned in one of Rupa Goswami's celebrated writings, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's a verse that describes the process of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. What's Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti? There's, in the topic of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's 3 stages of bhakti practice: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Pretty simple. Sadhana bhakti, if done properly, can lead to bhava bhakti, can lead to prema bhakti. And then there's gradations within those realms. In the sadhana bhakti, which is something we're all doing, there's a stage or a type of practice called Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, where one practices raga, and one of the features of raga bhakti or Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is externally all the vidhis, the rules, the do's and the don'ts are observed. And internally, there's meditation upon eternal associates of Krishna, who are perfected souls. So while doing our devotional practices in everyday life, we have our traffic cops. We're just letting our traffic cops do what their service is. Okay. Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti means externally the vidhis, the do's and the don'ts of practice, and internally cultivation of meditation upon one of the eternal associates of Krishna, perfected souls, like Mother Yasoda in the Damodara-lila. We'll hear some more as we're going along. So one of the methods, this is commentary on this verse, if possible, one should live physically in the places where Krishna lived, such as Vrindavan. If one cannot do that, then the person should live there mentally. Now, this is in reference to something that you read in Nectar Devotion, which is a summary study of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And there are 64 items that are very favorable for cultivation of bhakti. Of those 64, the final 5 of the 64 are especially powerful and recommended. And we're good at doing 4 of those 5 and not so good at doing number 5. Here's the 4 that we're very accustomed to: chanting Hare Krishna, chanting the holy names of the Lord, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, serving the Vaishnavas, worshiping the deity form of the Lord. So we're accustomed to those. And this fifth one is residing in Vrindavan. And Austin, Texas isn't Vrindavan. So what do you do if you don't live in Vrindavan, but that's one of the 5 most potent things? Then the recommendation is this one, that you mentally live there, means you absorb your mind, say this raga. You absorb your mind and thoughts of those who reside there. So you're residing there because you're with them, because your thoughts are absorbed in those personalities who are residing there. And similarly, in these teachings of Rupa Goswami and in Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's this mention specifically of the vrata, or the vow, during this month of Kartik, or month of Damodar, of offering a lamp. So many of you are doing that. And if you're not doing that, you can consider doing it, because it's very nice, and it's recommended in scriptures to do. The Damodara-lila involves, as you see in the screen, it's a lamp. You know, in India, they have little clay cups and a little ghee wick, and you light the ghee wick. And here in America, we light candles, which is the same thing. And recite these Damodara-lila prayers. The Damodara-lila prayers, they're found in Padma Purana. They're spoken by Satyavrata Muni to Narada Muni and Shaunaka Rishi. Now, Sanatana Goswami is one of our principal acharyas, follower of Lord Chaitanya. There's 6 of them, 6 Goswamis. Sanatana is the eldest of them. So he writes in Hari Bhakti Vilas that these prayers, the Damodara-lila prayers, are nitya siddha, or eternally perfect prayers. I mean, all prayers are nice, but these are very special. And they were manifest through the mouth of Satyavrata Muni as he's speaking to Narada and Shaunaka Rishi. And it's capable of attracting Damodar himself, Damodar Krishna himself. They're very special, very special. There's a benediction mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Anyone who recites or even hears this prayer, especially in the month of Kartik, will attract the eternal shelter of devotional service at the lotus feet of Sri Damodar. So encouragement to recite these prayers. Some other of the glories of Vrindavan and Mathura. Just as there is, this is from Skanda Purana, referenced in Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. Just there is no yuga equal to Satya Yuga, no scripture equal to the Vedas, and no place of pilgrimage equal to the Ganges. So there is no month equal to Kartik, the most dear to Lord Krishna. And many, many other scripture references would fill up the page to make them all. Here's a nice, interesting detail. As mentioned already, Vrishabhanu was the father of Radharani, and Kirtida is the mother. Vrishabhanu and Kirtida. However, scripture also, in addition to identifying her as Kirtida, speaks of her as Kritika. And so, as the daughter of Kritika, she's known as Kartika. One of the names of Radharani is Kartika, so this is Radharani's month. And in Rupa Goswami's writings, he sometimes, instead of saying Radha or Radharani, would refer to her specifically as Kartika Devi. So this is Radharani's month. If you like Radharani, you like this month. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar Devotion, there are mentioned 64 items. We spoke about 5 most powerful, but one of them is this observing of Kartik itself, observing Kartik month by the Damodar Astaka prayers and offering a lamp and worshiping Lord Damodar. It's one of the 64 items. In the Adi Varaha Purana, we're almost ready for the pastime. In Adi Varaha Purana, there's this statement, O Goddess Earth, 60 billion sacred places reside in my Mathura. 60 billion holy places. That's a lot of places in Mathura. So it's a very special place. Now, when Nanda Maharaj shifted his residence from his ancestral home to the eastern side of the river Jamuna, they took shelter in what is known as Gokula. And Gokula I knew it was going to happen. Gokula has different forests. At Vrindavan and Gokula have 12 forests. And one of those forests is Mahavan. And at the base of this little hillock where his palace was, is a temple known as Ulukala Bandha temple. So Ulukala is the Sanskrit word for grinding mortar, for grinding spices. And Bandha, because Krishna was bound to the grinding mortar by Mother Jasoda at this place. So we're going to go visit the place, equipped with a fancy motorcycle right at the entrance. And when you go inside, turn to the left, and this is what you're going to see. It's not an altar, and it looks like an altar. And right in front is this fire red hundi box, in case you didn't know what to do with the hundi box. That's where you put your donations. And right behind the hundi box are these items. They claim it's the remains of the grinding mortar and the pestle, and the grinding mortar for grinding spices. And in the front of both of them is this little pair of Krishna's baby shoes or baby feet. Sometimes we see that in holy places, the feet of Vishnu, etc., etc. So these are little boys' feet. Here's the same image from another angle. And here it has some nice sandalwood and some flowers. On another day, more sandalwood and different flowers. And this is a very special day. Maybe it's the Diwali day, because the Damodar pastime took place on Diwali day. So we're going to be observing Diwali while I'm visiting, coming up. Some of you know of a celebrated person named Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit was like a writer and a minister and he guided kings. He wasn't a king, but he was a guide for kings, and he wrote little sayings, Chanakya Niti Shastra, of things that are good to do and things that are to be avoided. You know, good counsel, because that's the kind of person he was. And he was a very authoritative individual. So here's what he writes in a section that's called "The Bondage Better Than Liberation." There are so many ways of binding by which one can be dominated and controlled in this world, but the bond of love and affection is the strongest. For example, take the case of the bumblebee, which, although expert at piercing hardened wood, becomes caught in the embrace of the beloved lotus flower as the petals close at dusk. So many of you know, and if you didn't know today, now you'll know. Lotus flowers have movements according to the movements of the sun. Specifically, at night, the petals of the lotus close. When the sun rises in the morning, maybe you've observed this, the petals start to open. When the sun becomes fully morning, the lotus petals are wide open. And then as the evening comes, the petals close. And sometimes the bumblebee who likes lotus pollen, because it makes nice honey, sometimes they get stuck when the lotus closes at night. But they don't mind because they feel the embrace of the lotus, although their stinger is capable of penetrating hard wood. They don't mind because it's like the embrace of love, the bondage of love. That's Janaka Pandit saying. So similarly, the pastime of Damodar is the pastime of Krishna being bound with ropes, but it wasn't with the ropes. It was the love of Mother Yasoda that bound Krishna because the ropes didn't work. Well, you know the pastime. If you don't know the pastime, you'll find out. There's a nice illustration of this pastime by a nice artist named Kim Murray. She and her husband they really like Krishna and they really like paintings of Krishna. So this is from their book on Damodara-lila. And as mentioned, the Damodara-lila takes place on Diwali Day. And on Diwali Day, Mother Yasoda was contemplating, I keep getting these reports from other village ladies that my son breaks into their storage room and steals butter in their storage room. And I don't believe it. Because you know how many cows Nanda Maharaj has? 900,000 cows, and there's no shortage of butter. I know he likes butter, but it's not like he's deprived of butter. So I don't believe it. Why does he go steal butter from other places? But if there's any truth to it, maybe it's because the ladies that help me in my household duties, the maid servants, don't do it properly. They don't make butter properly. So you know what? Today's Diwali. I'm just going to tell them, go home, be with your families, have a nice Diwali festival. I'll make the butter today. So they were very happy. They went to their homes on Diwali Day. And so here's Mother Yasoda making her butter from yogurt because dahi makes better butter than milk. Both can make milk, but dahi better. So Jiva Goswami explains that of the 900,000 cows, she selected 10,000 cows that were very special. She milked the 900,000 minus 10 and fed the milk from those 900,000 minus 10 to the 10,000 cows, and then milked the 10,000 cows. And the milk from those 10,000 cows was fed to the 1,000 very, very special cows. And after milking these 1,000 very, very special cows, 100 triple very special cows were given some milk. And that was taken, it was taken by 10 cows. She milked those after feeding very special grass to the very special 10 cows and the milk. Then she took that milk and she made dahi to churn it. And then she sat down, as you see in the painting. And I don't know if any of you have done this, but I have made, and it works. You make butter by churning dahi. And it's very simple. And it's fun. And it works. And the principle is you need a pot, vessel that holds the dahi. It needs some dahi. And then you put this rod that goes into the pot. The rod has some paddles. We made them with little pieces of wood, 3, 4, sticking in different directions. And then you churn the rod back and forth and back and forth. It sloshes the dahi, and after some time it becomes butter. There's another, you have to have a rope that goes around the rod, and you have to have something that holds the rod straight, but it's doable. It's pretty simple. So that's what Mother Jasoda did, as the painting shows. And when she was making the butter, doing the churning, the sloshing sound sounded like a drum. Boom, 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 boom. And she had bangles on her arms. It sounded like kartals. Ching, ching, boom, boom, ching, ching, boom, boom. And she was singing. She didn't need a songbook. She just spontaneously sang nice songs glorifying her beloved Krishna. And she was happily having a one-man band kirtan while making the butter for Krishna. And as the text shows, she set him down while she was doing this. Now, something that's very nice. Here's another nice thing. There's a description given in the Bhagavatam of how she was dressed. This is a detail, but it's part of the Raga Anuga Sadhana Bhakti, that in addition to meditating on Mother Jasoda, you meditate on her ornaments, her earrings, her sari, and how her smile, and all of her features, in addition to her behaviors, how she looked. So this is a Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti detail. She had a belt tied around her hips. She was pulling the churning rod, laboring considerably, her bangles and earrings moving and vibrating. But Krishna woke up. She laid him down to rest. And when he woke up, he looked at her. He's not talking yet. He just looked at her. And she knew what it meant. He wants to be fed. So she continued churning. So Krishna reached out and grabbed the churning rod, which meant stop churning, please. He's a little boy. At this stage, he's 1 year old. While Mother Jasoda was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink milk of her breast, appeared before her, and in order to increase her transcendental pleasure, he called hold of the churning rod. The Sanskrit phrase used in the verse is Damodara-lila, and began to prevent her from churning. Now, a little commentary. There's going to be a few commentaries. This one is from Hari Suri. The translation comes from Hari Parshad Prabhu. Some of you know who he is. And it's one of his favorite. He's a poet. Hari Suri wrote commentary on all the 10th canto pastimes, particularly the childhood pastimes. So here the painting is showing Krishna's grabbing the Mother Jasoda's rod. And here's what he writes. Once love for me is attained, there's no question of fear from Yamaraj, who also carries the rod of death's chastisement. Kritanda ja, the rod of chastisement. When it comes to my devotees, it is I who become Damodara, the holder of the rod. So maybe you've seen paintings or descriptions of Yamaraj. One of the things in his hand is there's two things. There's a snake, is time factor that destroys things, and there's a rod in his hand. So here's a nice painting of Yamaraj, and there's the rod of chastisement, the Kritanta Ja, the rod of chastisement. But Krishna is the Damodara, the holder of the rod of Mother Jasoda. And we don't need to worry about Yamaraj. Another nice painting of, and he has a noose, death noose. So she understood. He just touched the rod and she picked him up. It's a very beautiful painting. There she is, as mothers would sometimes do, holding Krishna in her lap, looking into his eyes. He's looking into her eyes. She smiles. He smiles. And it's like they get lost in their loving exchange with one another. And as you would see in the painting over on the right side, there's a kitchen. And what's on the kitchen? A stove. And on the stove is a pot of milk. And we're going to hear the commentary says Krishna's Yogamaya potency or Lila Shakti potency inspired Mother Yasoda, as absorbed she was in looking at Krishna, to glance and see the milk on the stove. And the milk is thinking something like this. But this is a detail. There's a number of details. Everything in the spiritual world is conscious. Like this table isn't conscious, but tables in the spiritual world are conscious. Not just trees that are animate, but even inanimate is conscious because everything is conscious. So the milk is conscious. And the milk was thinking, what's the use of my life? Once Krishna starts drinking milk from the breast of Mother Yasoda, he's not going to have any interest in me whatsoever. What's the use of my life? Let me just give up my life and jump in the fire. So milk is contemplating suicide. The boiling milk thought, here's the Lord. By remembering whose name all the burning heat of the material world is driven away, yet I am the only one who is burning in his personal presence. Fly upon me and my existence. And seeing the milk was thinking in this way and contemplating suicide by jumping into the fire, the Lord made arrangements for Yashoda, personified truth and joy, to see that spilling milk. It's a pastime, and it's part of the pastime. She sees the spilling milk. So, as we do, she did. She used her reasoning faculties. Here's the milk that's boiling over. And if once it's boiled over, it's spoiled. And I can feed Krishna later. So let me rescue in priority, time-wise, time management, let me rescue the boiling milk. And then I'll come back and feed Krishna and everything will be nice. But that's not what Krishna wanted. Krishna wanted to breastfeed. Forget that milk on the stove, although it was for Krishna. Here's a second reason. I'm just going to skip it because it's a little different. So there's Mother Yasoda rescuing the milk. Krishna became upset. And when Krishna is a pastime, he's the Supreme Lord. What's he get upset about? But he got upset. And so he took a rock or a stone, and with all of his 1-year-old might, he threw the stone at the clay pot for churning butter, and it broke the pot. And as he broke the pot, he started eating the contents, whatever had been churned into butter so far, and eating and eating and eating. And after Mother Yasoda rescued the pot, she heard her coming. So he got up and ran because he had broken the pot and was doing mischief, and he knew it was mischief. So he got up and ran. Now he's a toddler. At least he can move, not crawl. Earlier pastimes he couldn't walk. Now he can walk. So when she came from the kitchen, and she saw A and B. Here's a broken pot. Here's their stone. Krishna's gone. He did it. She didn't see him do it. She just deduced. She's using her rational faculties. Mother Yasoda was doing like that. We do. But she was completely Krishna conscious. And in addition, according to this painting, look closely at the painting, you can see little footprints. Because his feet were touching the yogurt and butter. So it left footprints. So she just followed the footprints. Sherlock Holmes watching which way he went. And sure enough, there he was in the storeroom, stealing butter. Now, the butter was left hanging on rafters because, at least in this part of India, there's little insects that crawl around on the ground. So to keep the crawling insects, okay, to keep the crawling insects out of the butter, they hung it up. So Krishna is standing on the grinding mortar to reach the butter that's hanging from the rafters, and he's having a good time. In addition to having a good time, he's feeding the monkeys. And there's Mother Jasoda coming around the corner, looking inside with her hands on her hips, seeing what's up. This report that came from the other ladies, he probably does go into their storeroom and steal butter. Deductive logic. Here's another nice painting, still the same little stick in her hand. And I've never seen monkeys like this. These are well-behaved monkeys. Saying, please, can I have some? And the painting shows Balaram, because Balaram's not in this pastime yet. He'll come later. And Mother Jasoda's smiling. She's seeing what he's up to. There's another nice painting. Krishna sees her from the corner of his eye. He's caught again doing mischief. So he gets up and runs again. And he's running, and Mother Jasoda is chasing him. Because, why? Because mothers have a responsibility to pass on good character to their children. And if the child is engaged in stealing, supposing there's no check on his stealing, that he can grow up and just become a thief. So Mother Jasoda doesn't want that. So she wants to discipline him. You can't steal. You can't steal. So she's chasing him. But who can catch Krishna? If you read in Ishopanishad, he can overcome all of his running. He's faster than anything. So he's running, running, running. Now, by this time, as you see in the painting, there's some other cowherd ladies watching the scene. They're no longer in the storage room. They're out on the yard, and they see the whole scene and they're laughing. They're amused by the whole situation. Mother Jasoda's running after a little boy. Sure enough, he's a thief, the butter thief, Makhan Chor. And somehow, and the somehow is by Krishna's transcendental potency, he arranges for her to catch him from behind. And if you read in the Canto 1, Chapter 8, in Queen Kunti's prayers, she speaks of this pastime. Yes, she speaks of this pastime. Running, she catches Krishna from behind. And when she catches Krishna from behind, she's got a little stick in her hand. See in her left hand? She's got the stick in her hand. And when she catches him, she still has a stick in her hand, and Krishna starts to cry, seeing the stick in her, looking at the stick in her hand, looking at her, looking at the stick in her hand. So she throws the stick away. She doesn't want him to cry. She just wants to discipline him to not steal. So a system, Prabhupada explains this, a system at the time for checking a restless little boy was something that today would be called, something else like child cruelty or something like that, abuse or something. She took a rope and was going to try to tie the rope to the grinding mortar that he was standing on to get butter from the storerooms. And then one rope goes around the grinding mortar, the other rope goes around his waist, and she got a nice big rope, and the nice big rope wouldn't go around his waist. You know the pastime? When Mother Jasoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by a distance of 2 fingers, width of 2 fingers, sometimes 2 inches. So she used her rational faculty again and tied 2 ropes together to make a longer rope and tried to put the rope around his waist. And it was still 2 inches too short. because what kind of rope can go around and bind Krishna? Now, already in chapter 8 and earlier in chapter 7, there was a pastime where she looked inside Krishna's mouth and she saw the whole universe inside Krishna's mouth. So what rope can go around the universe? No such thing. And within Krishna's mouth, within his waist, is the whole universe. Everything is within him. That's, Shastra says he's the source of everything. Everything is within him. So the rope didn't work. Then there's a detail I very much like, and because this pastime and the Putana pastime, there's so much commentary. It helps us to understand about later pastimes where there isn't as much commentary. The principle is Krishna has nothing to do, but his energies do everything. He just has Icha Shakti, the potency of desire, and then his desire potency lets the other potencies know time to do your thing. So the phrase that's used by our acharyas is Satya Sankalpa Shakti. Satya Sankalpa, Sankalpa means intention. Sankalpa means intention. Satya Sankalpa Shakti. And because of that Satya Sankalpa Shakti, Krishna didn't want Mother Yasoda to bind him. And so Vibhuti Shakti manifested within him. Now, what's Vibhuti mean? Some of you like reading Prabhupada's books, I know. So one of those books is Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita is opulence of the absolute, or in Sanskrit is Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti means opulence. So Vibhuti Shakti, responding to Satya Sankalpa Shakti, made it impossible for the rope to go around him. Impossible. One of our acharyas describes Nanda Maharaj has 900,000 cows. That's a lot of cows. So for in tending to cows, generally they use ropes. I've seen it. They tie one end to the around the cow. The other end, depending upon the length, they have a little stake. They put the stake in the ground, and there's the radius that the cow can move for that day to eat grass. So lots and lots and lots and lots, 900,000 cows, lots of rope. She got many, 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 many ropes. And it was still 2 inches too short. Here's an important lesson. One of in the Upanishads, in Taittiriya Upanishads, by definition, the personality of Godhead is rasa. The phrase, it's very short, raso vai saha. Vai means certainly. Saha is the pronoun referring to Krishna, or the source of everything. The source of everything, the absolute truth, is rasa. So what's he doing? Pastimes, he's doing nothing. His energies are doing everything. And he, Krishna, is reciprocating with his devotees. That's why he appears, to reciprocate love with his devotees and have them experience rasa. So she has parental affection, vatsalya rasa. And those are 5 primary rasas, and there's many secondary rasas. They're all described by Rupa Goswami. And one of those secondary rasas is astonishment. That's astonishment. So he, Krishna, wanted Mother Yasoda to experience parental affection accelerated by astonishment. It worked. So here's her astonishment. Mother Yashoda's friends, the elderly gopis in the neighborhood, were smiling and enjoying the fun. Similarly, Mother Yashoda, although laboring in that way, was also smiling. All of them were struck with wonder. That's one of the secondary rasas. Yashoda thought, a rope of 100 hastas, 150 feet, does not fit around my son's waist, which measures only 1 fist. His small waist is not getting any bigger, and this rope is certainly not getting any shorter, but still the rope doesn't reach around him. This is the first amazing thing. Furthermore, when I tie the ropes, plural, together, each time it's 2 fingers too short, not 3 or 4. That's the second amazing thing. He wanted her to experience that emotion connected to her parental affection. And so it was. Here's another reason given by Hari Suri why the rope didn't go around his waist. It's a nice answer. When the Supreme Lord gazes upon anyone with his all-merciful glance, that person no longer knows any bondage. It is therefore justified that when he glanced upon the rope, which was trying to bind him, that very rope could no longer perform his function of bondage. He's a poet. He has poetic license. It's nice. Again, it's that milk is personified or conscious, the rope is personified or conscious, and he's attributing consciousness to the pastime of the rope. Then Krishna is going to withdraw his Satya Sankalpa Shakti and Vibhuta Shakti because of Mother Yashoda, her affection. Because of Mother Yashoda's hard labor, in the verse it uses the word parishrama, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and flowers and comb were falling from her hair. When the child Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, he became merciful to her, as it says in the verse, Kripaya, and agreed to be bound. So he withdrew his own potencies in favor of her. He is the supreme controller, and he became controlled by her love. That's the point. That's the lesson for this pastime. The devotee, certainly of the caliber of Mother Yashoda, but devotion in general is so much attractive to Krishna, it purchases Krishna. He becomes subordinate to his devotee. He likes being Arjuna's chariot driver. He's not a Shudra or chauffeur or taxi driver or something like that. He's the personality, but he enjoys being subservient to his devotee. Okay, pull my chariot between the two armies, please. Thank you. He's the supreme controller, but he enjoys. That's the lesson. He's bound by the love of his devotee, not by ropes or anything else. Here's another illustration of the same. Krishna's mercy, which reigns as the king of his potencies, Kripa Shakti, is rules amongst all the other Shaktis, and illuminates all others, melts the heart of the Lord and turns it into butter. Please don't do that. Distracting. The appearance of Krishna's mercy made his Satya Sankalpa and Vibhuta Shaktis immediately disappear. The distance of 2 fingers was filled by the devotee's effort, back to the verse, parishrama, and the Lord's causeless mercy. So in success in devotional service requires 2 things. It requires your effort and mercy. You don't just like sit here and take a look at the kitchen and the feast is cooked. It takes some effort, but not everybody's a good cook. So it takes mercy to become good at anything, good at singing, good at thising and thating, and it takes mercy. So to be successful in bhakti, there's these 2 elements, effort and mercy. Another important lesson. The bhakta nishtha means faith. firm faith of the devotee seen in their tireless endeavors to serve and worship the Lord, and the swa-nishtha, that's Krishna, swa-nishtha, his firm capacity to empower a devotee, it brings forth his mercy upon seeing the devotee's effort and fatigue caused Krishna to be bound. In the absence of these two, the rope will remain 2 fingers too short. But when Bhakta Nishtha and Swa Nishtha are present, the Lord can be bound. In this pastime, Krishna showed Yashoda the whole world that only love can bind him. So we're nearly done. You're getting restless, right? A little bit. Here's Hari Suri's commentary. My devotees, gunas, which can mean ropes, guna can mean ropes, and guna can mean good qualities. My devotees' good qualities may fall short, but because the devotee is close to my heart, I myself will complete those qualities. As if indicating this fact, the unlimited Lord completed the incomplete ropes of Mother Yashoda. So here's a nice painting. She's not just binding him with ropes, she's embracing him with her arms. And Krishna becomes very happy. And therefore, it's not just the Damodara-lila, but Yashoda Damodara-lila. And we're almost done. There's another pastime described in Bhavishya Purana where Radharani binds Krishna with her sash or garment, like her shawl. I won't describe it, there's details, but because of time. There was a plan, Radha and Krishna were supposed to meet, but Krishna was late. And finally, after waiting, Krishna finally showed up, and Radharani was in an angry mood. Krishna likes when she gets in an angry mood. Krishna creates a situation to make her angry, and then he utilizes his cleverness, which is another one of his qualities, to solve the problem. He likes. There's a statement that he likes the love of Radharani when she talks back to him, and what to speak of Lalita. She really gives him the sauce sometimes. More so than Chandravali, who was always saying yes. Krishna likes. So he was late. And she became angry. Man, one of her leelas is Man Leela. And she was sulking. And Krishna tried to pacify her. She took her sash and tied him around the waist, binding like a naughty boy. You're late. And Krishna apologized. He said, well, there's nothing I could do. There was a big festival. Mother Jasoda and Nanda Maharaj had a big family festival. And so I had to participate in the family festival. And I came as quickly as I could. Please excuse me. She smiled and removed the sash. That's Radha binds Damodar. So Radha Damodar. And here's, in case you have not seen before, here's Radha Damodar. Little history, ISKCON history. Once upon a time, there was a very nice devotee, Prabhupada disciple named Vishnu Jan Swami. And he's celebrated Kirtanir. I mean, very, very special person. And so he loved Kirtan so much that he was based in Los Angeles. He decided he wanted to get a bus and travel around the country and do Kirtan all around in college campuses. So some brahmacharis joined him. They had all kinds of musical instruments and traveled here and traveled there and performed Kirtan in college campuses. And he asked Prabhupada, he said, okay, if we get deities, because we're away from temples and there's no deities. He gave him permission. So these are the deities that are Vishnu Jan's deities. They're very tall, not super tall, but they're like 1.5 feet tall, 18 inches tall. Brass deities, very beautiful deities. And they would just put them on a little portable palanquin and set them down on the college campus. The first time I saw Radha Damodar was in Manhattan, in Harlem. And they were on the sidewalk at 125th Street in Harlem. Wow. Radha Damodar, really merciful. And after some time, the bus party wound down, and they were looking for a home, someone that could nicely worship the deities, and they were gifted to the Gitanagari farm. And today, that's where they are. So if you want to see Radha Damodar, very merciful, very, 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 that's a lot of varies, merciful deities, go visit the Gitanagari farm. You're invited. And they were named after the Damodar deity that's at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. This is the deity of Damodar today at the Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. And before they were, these deities that you see here, the Radha Damodar deities were given by Rupa Goswami to Jiva Goswami at his time of initiation. There were deities that were personally carved by Rupa Goswami from black marble from Vindhya Parvat with his own hand. He was not many skilled person. And he carved the deities and gave them to his disciple, Jiva Goswami, who worshipped them at the Radha Damodar temple for a long time. And then they were taken to Jaipur for safety because there was some Muslim invasion and they wanted to protect the deities. So they were taken to Jaipur, and that's where they're worshipped today. That's where this photograph is taken, Jaipur. And that's it for a little description on Damodara-lila and Damodara-lila Stan. Nice details of the pastime. So let's see if there's some discussion. A little bit of an abrupt ending, but that's okay. Radha Damodar ki jai. Yasoda Damodar ki jai. My experience is the first question takes some time, and after that it flows. So I'm very patient. Sometimes, most of the time. Okay, if there's no questions, we'll move on. Who's our MC? Are you ready to do the MC program?
Yes, Maharaj. So I'll give a quick thank you note before we are moving into the next part of our program. Thank you, Maharaj, for nicely explaining the importance of visit of holy place like Vrindavan, and also importance of the Kartik month and observing the Kartik Vrat. It is so. Thank you for nicely explaining the intricacies and details of the pastime. Thank you, Maharaj. And we will show our gratitude for chanting one time Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'll give a big round of applause for Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Devotees will have Arati now. Rohini Mataji is performing Arati. Radha Vinod Prabhu is singing Kirtan.
Kartik. Hare Krishna.
Let's check with Shiva.
Anyone has Kartal? Anyone is having Kartal? Can you please share? No one? Where is yours? Where is yours? देखो क्या आ रहा है? चलो जी लाटा फेंको हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा हरि बोल I think it's better like it. Oh, no, still have. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Radha Nila Madhura Nila Madhura Jaya Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज का आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज का आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री मायापुरी धाम की जय श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा मई यमुना मई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय बृहद मृदंगा की जय ऑल ग्लोरीज to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Eko isko jaye.
You want to play? Go ahead, play.
Prabhuji are reading Damodara first. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Laladaladadaine. Hiranyakashipu rakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narasimha parato Narasimha. Yeto yeto yamitato Narasimha. Bahe Narasimha hridaye Narasimha. Narasimha Bahe Narasimha hridaye Narasimha. Narasimhamadhim sharanam prapadena. Narasimhamadhim sharanam prapadena. Avakara kamalavare nakam adbhuta shringam dalita hiranyakashipu tanubhrunga keshavadrita narahari rupa jai jagadish hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Anubhrunga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jaya Jagadish Hare. Jayo Narasimha Jai Jayo Narasimha Jai Jayo Narasimha Jai Jayo Narasimha Jai. Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj. Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्री भक्ति विघ्न विनाश श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय। भक्त शिरोमणि श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees. Today's announcements. So we are celebrating Diwali and Govardhan Puja at